Imagine a time where you can actually trade stocks 24/7 without having a brokerage here or there or anywhere, where Wall Street is actually sleeping and you're front running Wall Street. Well, you don't have to wait for that time to come, because that time is here and now. And we're going to talk about what tokenized stocks are and how you could actually use it to your advantage. So welcome everybody. If you haven't smashed that subscribe button and gotten into our channel, do me a favor, do that, because I want to make sure that you get a notification every single time that we go live, or every time we actually put a video out. Tick that notification button on so that you make sure that you get up to speed on all things DeFi and crypto. All right, so welcome everybody. Let's talk a little bit about tokenized stocks. So tokenized stocks is something that I've been looking at, and I'm going to be not only talking about like the different ways that we can trade these tokenized stocks, but I'm also going to be showing you some algorithms that we have that we've got access to that have just been crushing it. In fact, myself, since May, I made a nice little 60% gain on a Nvidia using this algorithm, this entry point. So it was really cool. But I want to share with you some of the other algorithms that we have, and show you that the patient will be rewarded with this. So let me pull this up here so you all can see one of the first things here that we're talking about, which is XSTOS. All right. So XSTOS, they've been around for a little bit of time now. In fact, it was funny because I ended up getting into XSTOS, or I saw the XSTOS thing somewhere at one point in time, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, you used to be able to trade like derivatives of stocks on Terra Luna before, but obviously they crashed, and so there was no longer access to like tokenized stocks, even if it was derivatives. But then I ended up seeing this, I don't know, maybe it was like a year ago, and I ended up going in and like taking a look at it. I'm like, oh, whoa, you can actually buy tokenized stocks, but you couldn't necessarily buy them on DeFi. There was no like chain that they were on, and it was like kind of difficult. Nobody was really into it. And then all of a sudden, I think it was about 2 months ago, we started seeing all this stuff pop up about XStocks and where you could buy them. You know, you could buy them on currently right now, Kraken, Bybit, Gate, on the Solana network, BNB chain, BitGet. So these are Radium, and Jupiter, those are decentralized exchanges. But, you know, it was really cool because like I came in, I took a look. I'm like, okay, you can buy Netflix, Hood, Meta, kind of the usual suspects, Amazon, Coinbase, Nvidia, which this one and Tesla were the main ones that I wanted. But then I clicked on this and I saw, holy guacamole, look at this. There is so many more tokenized stocks that you could actually buy. Now, what are these tokenized stocks? All right. And for those of you that are like very conservative, look, you can even buy the S&P 500. So SPY-X is what it's called here. But for those of you that are like, oh man, yeah, I like these stocks, I like holding them. Well, here's the important thing. Okay. So the way that it works is they end up taking the money that they have, and then with that money, they go and they buy stocks and they hold it inside of their traditional finance brokerage. Okay. And then every single time they do that, they pump out a token that is, you know, whatever, Circle stock or Cisco or Coca-Cola. All right. And those stocks are backed 1-to-1 in the traditional finance side with that actual stock. So here, you know, you can buy fractions of a stock. And the coolest part, which I was explaining earlier at the beginning, is that you can buy these stocks at any point in time. So you don't need to wait until the market opens. You can actually front run the market. So if there's like bad earnings, you might be able to sell, before everybody wakes up. Now, there is some like slippage sometimes that you'll get, but usually it kind of balances itself out. They work with Chainlink, one of my favorite oracles and companies in crypto, to make sure what Chainlink does is they make sure that the pricing in the real world or on the real exchange gets over to the actual decentralized exchange, and those tokens don't fluctuate in price. That's a big thing. So, whoops. So anyways, this is cool to see that they're working with Chainlink, which is, again, one of my top picks for crypto. So you can see here, again, availability 24/7, freely transferable. So you can transfer those into your wallets and you keep them there. It's in your cold storage, which is really cool. You cannot do that with your traditional broker. No commissions, which is really cool. You may pay commission on the decentralized exchange side, but not on the traditional broker side. It's DeFi ready and accessible. You just get access to them and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, another place that you could actually get tokenized stocks, all right, is right here in Gains. Now, these are not backed one-to-one. They are derivatives, all right? And this is what we call a futures exchange. So in a futures exchange, what happens is you're able to basically leverage trade. So like I actually did a leverage trade here with Nvidia. And what ended up happening was I set like a leverage trade for I think it was like 1.6. I even did it live, by the way, I did it live on a live, like maybe, 6-7 weeks ago, sometime in May. So maybe even longer than that, maybe 8 weeks ago. And I'm going to show you the result here in a little bit, but you can go all the way up to 50x leverage, which I would not recommend going 50x leverage on anything. Just way too volatile, unless you're just like, screw it. I'm going to gamble today. Like that's what you're going to get. Or you really, really know what you're doing. That's the other thing. But Nvidia is a really, really, really good stock that, I want to be trading, and I have an algorithm for it. So, and the drawdown is low enough to where I'm not too worried about exactly, getting liquidated or something like that. So, so that's a good thing. So I could use maybe like 1.5x leverage or 2x leverage, and be okay if I wanted to trade these. Now, so I do have Tesla here, but the drawdown with Tesla is a little bit more. And I just wouldn't feel comfortable here. But, if you're going to short these two, which we do have, again, an algorithm that shorts and longs, and it rides the momentum of it, then you definitely want to make sure that you have access to Gains, because you won't be able to short it like on on Radium, let's say, for instance, or Kraken. Okay, but you can short it here. All right, you have a simple short option, and then you can set it here. The cool thing though about these signals that we actually have is they only you only have to get in and out of them at one time in the day. All right. So it's not like it could come at like a random time. It's just either at the opening bell, it will open the trade or close the trade. So it's really, really simple, really, really easy. Now the other place where you can actually buy, so this is one place that you can buy, but it's not these X stocks. All right. But the other place that you can buy is here, which is Radium. Now this is a decentralized exchange on Solana. And, if you come here, you've got a bundle of different things. Let's see if we have like Coinbase. Yeah. So you have like Coinbase, you have, I don't know if they have Netflix on here. No, they don't have, they don't have all of the ones, by the way. They don't have all of the ones that are on X stocks. But you could bring those over, I guess, if you found them somewhere, like maybe on Kraken, and transfer them to your Solana wallet, you could be the one to provide liquidity, and you can make money on the liquidity pool. But that's for another subject matter. So there are a lot of tokens here. I think you can buy strategy. MS. Yeah, so you can buy MicroStrategy, which is another algorithm that we have, and I do believe you have access to Tesla. Yeah, so Tesla right here. So you have access to, like, maybe they have like Google. I don't have a strategy for. Yeah, look, you can buy Google as well. So now again, here you can buy it and you keep it in your own bag. Oh, let's see here. Look, I just kind of clicked on something. Let's see here. Oh, wow. So I guess, so let's see what this information is. I just clicked on this. So let's see, key benefits, view Google and CoinGecko, service providers. Maybe it tells us here where we could buy it. No, I guess not. I'll have to look for it and see where. This is pretty legit though. This is, guys, this is like the real deal here. All right. This is the real deal here. So it's pretty awesome that you could actually get on here and actually, make sure that it is backed. This is really cool. I mean, for those of us that are like really deep in crypto, we've been dealing with like the volatility for a really long time. Not to say that that stocks cannot be volatile, especially Tesla and a lot of these other stocks that Nvidia has been like wildly up and to the right for a really long time. But for those of you that are like, hey, I want to, maybe you don't believe so much in crypto, or maybe there's just very few cryptos you believe in, but you're like, I like that. I like the fact that, we're headed toward this decentralized world. Well, this is definitely something for you. Or you live in a country where maybe you don't have access to stocks, or maybe it's really hard to do it. Well, all you have to do is spin up a Solana wallet, get a little bit of money over there, and boom. Speaking of which, if you want to learn how to do things like that, we have a 2-day event coming up here on August 30th and 31st. We've got a whole bunch of speakers that are going to be talking. Myself, Reagan Hillier, Billy Carson. We have Cliff Pierre. We have Andrew Cartwright, Nick Manel, and my business partner, Igor Statsenko. We're going to be talking about multiple different things. Some people are going to be talking about passive income, like different ways that you can achieve passive income, such as like real estate or social media. And those of us that are part of the ARC, my company, we're going to be talking about how you can actually set up wallets, how you can get into DeFi, how you can get into plays like these. So there should be a link down below, or somebody maybe can drop the link in the comments. We'd love to see you there. So anyways, yeah, let's get back to what we're talking about. Oh, and by the way, we have like $20,000 worth of giveaways. So like just by showing up is really cool. You'll qualify for giveaways. All right. So let's see here. I thought I had this open, but I didn't. All right. So this is the algorithms that we have been that we've been testing now for quite some time. We have algorithms from these same traders. I should call them strategists, because they're like strategist traders. And they have come up with our best performing strategies right now, which are our Leo and Gemini ETH strategies, which are doing like 10% per month, which is really cool. Like actually verified on the blockchain, which is really awesome. And so you can see here, though, this is the strategy that they have, micro strategies, I should say, just to clarify that. And so why do we want to use these trading strategies? Well, the problem is like, if you have, let's say you have to have like a lot of conviction to get into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever, right? Well, same thing here is strategy. Strategy is basically a derivative of Bitcoin, meaning it's like, it follows the price of Bitcoin more or less. Sometimes it gets even more aggressive. Okay. But you can see here, that we've had multiple times where the drawdown was like really, really big, meaning like you bought, let's say $10,000 worth of strategy. Well, if you would have bought that here, you would have written that all the way down. This is November of 2021, all the way down to an 81% loss. So that $10,000 is now worth, oh gosh, well, 82, basically 82% down. So you're probably looking at $1,800. Now, did it bounce back? Yeah, absolutely, it bounced back. But you got to like ride this downturn, which I'm not really comfortable with. All right, I'm kind of done. I'm ready to be more patient in my trading. I made lots and lots of money during the DeFi days, but there was days where I'd be down tens and tens of thousands of dollars, and I just don't like that feeling. So I like making sure that I have my chips where they're managed and that risk is managed. But you can see here, all right, there were times where you might have been in actual drawdown in this strategy. Right here is a max drawdown of 12.7 or 12.47%. Well, that's way better than negative 81%. And this is how we manage risk, guys and gals. And you can see it's done really well. Since that time, it's done a 35x. All right. This is the strategy that's super simple. You just get into it one time, not every day, but if the signal hits. And you can see here, so within the last 4 years, almost 4 years, there's only been 28 trades. So it's not like you're sitting there like waiting for this to happen every minute or like staring at a screen ready to no. It's just you're patient. You wait for the signal to come. The signal comes. You take the trade. If it gets out, it gets out. And look, the profitable trades here, 53% of them are profitable. Now, some of you may be like, oh my gosh, don't you need like 100% win rate or 80%? No, this just means you cut your losers short and you let your winners run. All right. And so you can see here, this is the green line. This is what our strategy did compared to buy and hold. So buy and hold still did well, but you just absolutely dominated if you would have had our strategy running as opposed to just buying and holding. And this would have been a 35x for you, a 35x for you. All right. So that's a pretty darn good. So take like, let's say you invested that same $10,000. That means you'd be up $350,000. All right. Just to give you some context. All right. This one's Tesla here. And Tesla has done okay. It hasn't done as well as strategy. This is again from November of 2021 to August of 2025. And take a look, Tesla in January of 2023, or sorry, from November to 2021 to January of 2023, you experienced a 76% drawdown. That's math. I mean, you really had to be a Elon Maxi. All right. You had to be an Elon Maxi. And even if you would have bought back then and just held, let's say you just were unfortunate and you caught this top, which by the way, the majority of people do. That's why it tops off here. So a lot of people get caught, and all these people that were buying like all down here, they start selling. And all these people here, they're like, oh man, I got to hold this now. But even if you would have bought it back here in November, guess what? You'd still be down 18% still. So you still haven't even come to break even. So if you invested $10,000, you would only have $8,200, right? Yeah, $8,200. So that's no, I don't want that, as opposed to what? 468% and a 21.5% drawdown. Okay. Now, this one took a few more trades. The strategy one was way like more patient, and the profitable trades were way less. Okay. But you can see here, 56 trades. That's still not a lot of trades between the last 3.5 years, right? So it's really not that much, and it's real simple. Again, you just enter one time per day. And by the way, you don't have to, with these strategies, you don't even have to get into crypto. You can have your 401k or just your normal brokerage, and you can put those trades in super easily right then and there, right? You do not have to be in crypto. So these signals that we give just comes in our app. You go in, that's it. You just get the signal, you make the trade on your phone, on your Charles Schwab or whatever, or your 401k, and you're ready to rock and roll. All right. Now, Nvidia, this is the trade that I just recently took, which was really cool. It was a small trade, all right? I didn't become like a gajillionaire off of it, but it was a meaningful trade. So I think I traded with 2x leverage. You can see right here. And it ended up going up in value. Right here is where this was my trade right here. And by the way, you can see on these charts, when it's green, that means we're taking the trades. When it's red, or taking them long. So we're betting that they're going to go up. And when it's red, it means we're betting that they're going down. Okay. So there's been some like shorts here. I don't know when this was, probably like November, that 80% drawdown. Oh, no, this is Nvidia. Sorry, this is not Tesla. Tesla had these massive drawdowns too. So you can see here, but this was still probably a really steep drop. Let's see here. We're at 26 all the way down to 13. So this was still like right here for Nvidia. This is a 50% drop. All right. That would give like anybody the heebie-jeebies, you know what I mean? But if you wouldn't have had conviction, I mean, you would have missed out on all of this, all right, on all of this, but you would have had to hold through all of this. Well, here's the cool part. Max drawdown here is 20%, okay? And then look at what your return was, 1,180%, okay? So meaning if you would have invested, again, $10,000 on this, you would have $800, all right? Not bad, right? And you can see the deviation. So here's the blue line is if you would have just bought and held, you still did good. But the green line is where you really, this is our trade, all right? This is where you really crushed it. And again, profitable trades, not so high, 34%, almost 35%. But we cut the losers short and we let the winners run. And this is, by the way, this is a testament to consistency, guys and gals, because, on all of these, there were years where you only did like a 20% return, So you just got to stick that course. All right. Because once it started to heat up, man, you did really well. Even with this one here, I mean, nobody's going to cry in 3 months or 3 years and 8 or 9 months. Like, you're not going to cry over a 468% return in those 3 years. Like, if you like average it out, that's like 100% per year, not compounded. All right. Compounded would be way more. But still 100% per year flat. That's pretty good once you start get going here. Okay. So anyways, this was one where just from here to here, I ended up making a really nice return at like 60%. All right. I made a 60% return in a very short amount of time with this, but I did use leverage. All right. I did use leverage. So I want to make sure that I'm clear about that. So anyways, here's, I just wanted to kind of go through before we jump off here, because there's some really important things coming up in the crypto market that I think everybody should be aware of. And, you really need to just pay attention and make sure that you're not, like going crazy. You do have conviction and you have a plan. Like, my plan is using these algos, right? And I'm going to show you the ETH algos here in a little bit. Okay. But right here, we've got something tomorrow that could be a big dump in the market. All right. It could be a big dump in the market. And so what is that? So this is the Federal Reserve Jackson Hole Symposium, where they have all the different Federal Reserve crooks meeting up in one place. All right. And essentially, right now, there's like a really, really big lock of horns between the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, and Donald Trump, which Donald Trump is like really, really been trying to put the heat on Jerome Powell to get him out because he's been like way too conservative. Donald Trump wants interest rates to go down, and Jerome Powell did say that he was going to lower interest rates this year. However, because of the tariffs that Donald Trump imposed at the beginning of this year, we're starting to see inflation go up. And the problem with that is that the Federal Reserve then most likely will not bring those interest rates down. Now, maybe he will, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll try to get like a big FU to Donald Trump. Let me know in the chat here, by the way, what you think he'll do if you're paying attention to this. But you know, he's got until about next year where his time is up, and then he doesn't necessarily have to step out. I don't know exactly how it works with the Federal Reserve, but according to what I know, I think Donald Trump is going to be replacing him. By the way, Donald Trump is the one who put him in there, which is, you know, very funny. The Democrats kept them in. But anyways, if he indicates that he's not going to do at least a quarter cut in September, expect a major sell-off in all markets, by the way. All right. In all markets, because that means he's going to keep interest rates pretty high. You know, you could see the real estate market really start to suffer, which it's really suffering right now. There's places in the US where it's suffering, I should say. But yeah, so other than that, if we do get confirmation of a quarter point cut for September, which I don't know, inflation has heated up because of these tariffs, because of multiple things, because of this war with Russia. I think, you know, we could see him keeping the interest rates. And now, I don't know if any of you saw this, but Trump ended up firing the person that for the labor statistics, I think it was, because they got it wrong, or they had to like revise it, which they always end up revising it. So the numbers didn't look quite as well for Trump. So like unemployment was actually higher, right? So he fired that person and replaced it with a person who was, I don't know, are they going to be like now bending the knee to Trump, right? And like maybe swaying the numbers, which they do on CPI, consumer price index, all the time. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but like, you know, I don't live in the United States, but my father the other day, he's like, no, man, like inflation is still like way up. He's like, my grocery bill is up like 50% from last year. And I'm like, really? And, you know, one of my business partners, Igor, he was just in the United States. He's like, dude, I'm so glad I don't live in the United States anymore. It's like so expensive. Everything there is super duper expensive. And I was like, really? You know, like, anyways, I was really shocked to hear that it was still that expensive. You know, he's like, yeah, for me to just go out and eat something, it was, you know, $50. For me to get an Uber within, you know, for a 10-minute ride was $50. And I was like, really? Wow. That's pretty incredible. So I don't know how a lot of people are making it over there if prices are going up that high, but maybe they're tripping. Maybe my dad and Igor are tripping. Anyway, so these are our two best performing managed vaults right now. This one is Gemini ETH. All right. It's doing an average monthly return of 10%. It's been around for almost 6 months now. So at the end of this month, we'll be at 6 months, which will be really cool because we've maintained a very healthy average monthly return. This one does, just like all of these strategies, they use the same, not the same algorithm, but the same strategists were the ones that came up with this, which is really great. This one does take the shorts and the longs. Now it is very patient with the shorts, but it has done really, really well. And you know, so far this year, since we first started this back in March, we're up 64% because this started at a dollar. And you can see here, this is the chart since we first started, so that's pretty cool. And then you can see here, this is our other one, which is our Leo ETH, okay, our Leo ETH strategy, and this has been doing 9.43%. Now, this one only trades the long side, so it does not take any shorts, but this has done really well, all things considered. And I do believe that Ethereum is going to keep trucking upwards because there's just so much institutional adoption going into Ethereum. And then we've got all of these Ethereum reserve companies that are basically just buying ETH and stacking it. And they're using kind of a page out of MicroStrategy, which I showed you guys and gals earlier, that we have a strategy for as well. And so I just think that Ethereum is going to be a clear winner once this market starts to align a little bit better. Now, I personally think that, you know, we're not on a 4-year cycle anymore. I do think that we're going to start seeing the market start to head up and probably be here, you know, have a bull market and have like a blow off top at some point in time, maybe like late 2026 or early 2027, or we may even be surprised. It could even go longer. Who knows? I mean, look, if you take a look at like the .com boom, the .com boom went for 5 years. All right. Like pretty much there were some retracements obviously, but it did really, really well. All right. But we are starting to see some market sell off right now. You know, you can see like, I don't know, Chainlink is one of our darlings. I'm going to be doing a video, XRP versus Chainlink here. It's going to ruffle some feathers, but I got to ruffle feathers, man. Cause I just am not sure about XRP. Like I'm really, really concerned with a lot of people that are just holding XRP. Cause yeah. So I'm going to show you the alternative, Chainlink, and what it can do here. You know, we have a pretty decent pullback. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world type of pullback, but you know, you can take a look here. GRT, we're not trading GRT. What are we looking at here? One of the ones that I am looking at is Curve. You know, Curve is where you're going to be able to trade all these stable coins. It's like the largest stable coin decentralized exchange in the world. So, and all these stable coins, they're going to launch on Ethereum and Ethereum L2s. So I actually think that Curve is going to do well. And look, we're not even to its held its own. This is why I know, guys and gals, we're not in an altcoin season yet, but it's coming. Even Bitcoin, look, Bitcoin's down 1.76%. That's not fun. That's not fun. ETH down 2.74%. Not bad, but yeah. Anyways, that is all I got for you all today. Let's see if we have any stuff here. Hey, Botanical Bro, greetings. You purchased a VIP ticket for the event. Awesome. Will a replay of the event be available for download? It absolutely will. Reading of Chainlink. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Yes, I agree with you, Botanical Bro. Let's see. Big changes. Yes, many will leave the administration, the Trump administration, I'm assuming, moving fiat to conform to elites. Yes. Destroying crops with the spotted. Let me show this. Destroying crops with the spotted lanternfly. I don't know what that is. Seeing the pattern. Yeah. It sounds serious though. Let's see here. Jordan hopes for lower rates. Let's see. Oh, Marilyn. Nice. You're coming to the event. She didn't get her email. Okay. Looks like Jordan responded to you though, Marilyn. So hopefully you find that. All right. Let's see here. All right, everybody. Well, let's see. How can I join to make money? So, Shaniqua, Jordan, can you throw up the link there so Shaniqua can copy that link over for the event? And by the way, let me say this again. We have this event coming up. It's a 2-day event. Last one we had like thousands of people show up. There's like 1,300 people that showed up, which was really cool. And we brought some really, really big alpha. Like a lot of people like learned for like basically for free. It's 17 bucks. All right. But a lot of people learned how to set up their own wallet, how to borrow and lend against their own crypto. So you don't incur a taxable event, not tax advice. How to do multiple different things like transfer crypto. And then we showed them our crypto strategies, not our stock strategies, but we're going to be showing our stock strategies. And we're going to be showing you all some stuff here coming really, really soon. So Botanical Bro XRP will surprise many. How? Guys, for those of you in the XRP army, enlighten me, please. Because like, I go so deep into this stuff. I take a look like who's actually using this. You know, I see like Dubai, like, oh yeah, Dubai's doing this and that with it. But I just don't, like, it's been more than 10 years, right? It's more than 10 years. All right. That COVID, we'll get to Divine Sequoia here in a little bit. It's been more than 10 years that XRP has been around and nobody is still using it. Like, think of it this way. I was actually just watching a video today. And by the way, Jordan just dropped the link in the chat. All right. So you all can sign up for the 2-day event there. And we're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff. Nick Manel is going to be talking about some of this stuff. But China and XRP, no way. No way. Not now, not ever. So check this out. All right. Like, think of it this way. We just passed this major stablecoin legislation called the Genius Act, right? And the Genius Act basically now gives like the license to like somebody to go out and create their own stablecoin. Anybody can create their own stablecoin. All right. And so I think that there's some first movers right now. There's like USDT is the obvious one. USDC is the other obvious one. Athena is another big one. DAI Maker is another one. Frax is another one. Okay. So like all of these stablecoin companies have been around for a really, really, really long time, right? XRP, you were supposed to like use XRP on the XRP rail to convert from, like, let's say, for instance, I want to transfer money to somebody who's in Europe, right? So I take my XRP, I send it to that person, but that person can't spend dollars and they certainly can't spend XRP. All right. So now what happens is my XRP or my dollars gets converted into XRP, gets zoomed across the network, and then that XRP gets converted into euros. I always thought that was really stupid because what if XRP incurred fluctuations? It wasn't stable, right? It wasn't stable. Now, let's talk about what the technology we have now and have had for a really long time, since like 2017. I think that's when Tether came out. I was using Tether when it first came out, right? So now the difference is, let's say, for instance, I have WhatsApp. All right. And I was just listening to a podcast about this. I have WhatsApp. Well, Meta was already trying to do their own stable coin. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. All right. Called Libra, coincidentally. Okay. Not the Libra that rugged, but the Libra meme coin. But what ended up happening was like the United States government was like, no way, you can't do this. Absolutely not, because you're going to have like a monopoly on basically on processing money, right? And so, but now they do have the ability, and they've got, I don't know how many billions of customers, 5, 6, 7 billion customers, right? Well, now guess what? You go to WhatsApp, and I've got a cousin in, I don't know, Cuba or Vietnam or you name it, anywhere in Southeast Asia or South America, right? And I'm using USDT that I can transfer them instantly in my WhatsApp. I mean, I use WhatsApp every day. I use Telegram every day. You could do that using Telegram already like a year ago. But now you're going to be able to do that. I mean, who's going to even use Western Union? Or why would you use Ripple? Like something that you're totally not familiar with. You're going to have to download their app. How easy is their app? Is it cheaper than Facebook? Is it more expensive? I doubt it. I doubt it. So I just don't think that XRP is going to go anywhere. I just don't see it, guys and gals. I don't see it. I'll speak to one from Jordan soon, aware of XRP. Let's see. Do you realize that XRP temporarily outperformed BTC in value a few years ago? It's on record. Hold on. Time out, Botanical Bro. And by the way, I'm talking to Botanical Bro as a friend. All right. I'm not here to fight with anybody. 100%. It has outperformed BTC. Okay. It was way lower in market cap and it zoomed up, and it had its hands tied because of this SEC bullshit lawsuit, in my opinion, that they had on XRP. Okay. So but that doesn't mean that people are going to use it just because it went up in value. That's just like people basically essentially speculating on it. I think XRP is going to go up. Why? Why? Do they have a buyback and burn? Do they have a profit share? Do they have, something? Do they have a really good staking mechanism? The answer basically to all of those, no, no, and no. They don't have any of those things. What they're relying on is they want to become the next Western Union, and it's just not going to happen. Right now, Circle is actually coming up with multiple different stable coins, okay, within Circle. So why would I use, again, XRP, something that the majority of people are not familiar with, XRP DeFi that nobody uses? There's barely $80 million in total value locked in there, which is nothing compared to the total market cap of XRP. I don't know. I'm just sitting here kind of scratching my head. And I really hope all of you guys in XRP Army, because there's so many of you, and I really hope the best for you. And I really hope that it goes up in value. I really do. But I sold my XRP a few months back. I didn't have a lot. I had a couple thousand. And I was just like, man, I just can't see it. I couldn't. I went through. I tried to become part of the XRP Army, and I couldn't do it. But anyways, all right. That's my rant on that. So anyways, guys and gals, lots of love. I'll see you on the next live. I'm thinking about going live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays going forward. Let me know if that would be good in the chat down below or in the comments section. And if enough of you say yes, do it. And I'm just going to be basically, short segments, maybe 30 minutes max. I'll be talking about some crypto news, more or less. But yeah. All right, everybody. Enjoy your Thursday, and we will see you again next week. Cheers.